There is something deeply wrong with reality. Why is it millions of children die every year? Why do some prayers not get answered? How can we live in a good world if bad people win, and not only win but flourish? Sam Harris, in a 2011 debate, stated the following: 9 million children die every year before they reach the age of 5. Picture an Asian tsunami of the sort we saw in 2004 that killed 250,000 people. One of those, every 10 days, killing children only under 5. That's 24,000 children a day, 1,000 an hour, 17 or so a minute. That means before I can get to the end of this sentence, some few children, very likely, will have died in terror and agony. Think of the parents of these children. Think of the fact that most of these men and women believe in God and are praying at this moment for their children to be spared. And their prayers will not be answered. But according to Dr. Craig, this is all part of God's plan. Any God who would allow children by the millions to suffer and die in this way and their parents to grieve in this way either can do nothing to help them or does not care to. He is therefore either impotent or evil. Today's episode is not an answer to the problem of the existence of evil, but a question of how we as people choose to act in the face of it. In 1913, Carl Friedrich Jung, the famous analytical psychologist, had a vision in which Europe, from the coasts of Russia to the British Isles and the tops of the Swiss Alps, were drowned in a deluge of blood. He had this apparent premonition shortly before the breakout of the First World War. Jung believed this was connected to a concept he coined as the collective unconscious, which is essentially the shared subconscious contents of society and the human race as a whole. We are all susceptible to impression. It is not something that can be avoided and still be human. How we express ourselves is a mix of both our unique personas and an affect of this shared but hidden consciousness. The following character, I believe, is more than any other the one that grapples most precariously with a collective issue that has defined humanity for nearly the last 150 years. Nicholas Crane was born into an age defined by magic, yet is uniquely excluded from it. Incapable of casting even the simplest spell, he grows up as an outsider in a world that measures worth by arcane talent. Determined to be useful, he turns to smithing and metallurgy, eventually discovering that while he cannot wield magic directly, he can imbue it in objects. This revelation ignites a consuming passion that drives him to become the greatest arcane technologist of his era. Through relentless study, Nicholas uncovers the true nature of magic. It flows through the soul, and some souls are capable of holding more power than others. With no peers who share his condition, Nicholas experiments on himself, constructing a machine that channels energy from the outer planes into his body and binds it to his soul through magically infused tattoos. The experiment shatters the natural limits of his soul, transforming him from a magicless outcast into one of the most powerful sorcerers of the age. Unbeknownst to Nicholas, his research spreads. A powerful warlord named Balthier uses Nicholas's discoveries to become the first Lich and develops methods of extracting magical power directly from the souls of the living. At the height of his power, Balthier wages a war of annihilation against all life in pursuit of godhood. Nicholas and his allies respond by constructing a machine capable of turning back time, hoping to undo Balthier's ascension. Nicholas promises his wife that he will stop Balthier and return home to her and their 2 sons. Instead, he returns to find them murdered, drained of life and sacrificed to fuel Balthier's power. Devastated but driven by his promise, Nicholas completes the time machine. When it's activated, however, the Titan gods intervene, sealing Nicholas and his companions in temporal stasis for 100,000 years and neutralizing their magic. During that time, Balthier succeeds in eradicating all life, but is ultimately defeated and imprisoned by the Titan gods. When Nicholas awakens in a reborn world, he has no memory of his former life and takes on the name Nicholas Crane. Despite this amnesia, he is haunted by an inexplicable rage tied to Balthier's name. As Balthier's influence begins to re-emerge, Nicholas is once again drawn into conflict. Alongside a new group of heroes, he confronts Balthier's remnants in the Hells, where the destruction of the Soul Well frees countless trapped souls and restores Nicholas's memories. Reunited with the echoes of his wife and children, Nicholas renews his vow to undo the past and return to them, regardless of the cost. With the help of his imprisoned colleague Cass, Nicholas begins rebuilding the time machine, knowing that success would erase the current world and all the lives within it. Torn between his promise to his lost family and the relationships he has formed in the present, including a bond with a young man who reminds him of his son, Nicholas moves towards becoming a tragic figure, a man whose love, grief, and genius threaten to remake or destroy reality itself. Nicholas is defined by both the highest and lowest of humanity. Despite all that was pitted against him, he never gives up. Instead of wallowing in self-pity, he strives to make something from nothing. He, beyond any other character I've written, loves humanity. Even when humanity rejected him, he is the part of every man and woman that strives to face each day bravely and make something beautiful from it. He is also every person's longing to be accepted. Nicholas does not find himself contented with his achievements and longs to fit into the spirit of his time, to fit into a hierarchy of society that values a narrow definition of success, and he exceeds it. What scares me most about Nicholas as a character is precisely how human he is. Today, no one can help but see injustice in the world. It does not matter where one's politics lie, it manages to permeate every inch of our reality. Nicholas is the personification of an individual with every single reason to rail against the world and reality. He fought every inch to make himself into something without a complaint or a shred of resentment. He defined what achievement meant in an era of excellence and watched a man rip everything away. There is no illusion in front of him. The evil he sees is real and cannot be reasoned away. It is easy for either side of a contentious conflict to claim the benefit of proper perspective. It's easy to say that one side is right and another is wrong, and that because of this, we can learn to painstakingly sideline our internal prejudice in order to find some kind of middle ground. Nicholas's story is not this, because his story is asking an integral question, a deeper question. How far is too far when you have every excuse to resent reality? Everyone he knew was killed or imprisoned. His family was stripped of life and left dry husks to feel the power of a psychopath with a god complex. The Titans who created the world allowed it to happen and even stopped him from saving his people when he picked up their neglected duty. Nicholas's desire to rewrite reality, to turn back time and correct the mistakes of the creators, is not unique to him. This is the integral human evil, the integral human pride in each and every single one of us, that says that we know better, that we know what reality is supposed to be, and that if it could bend to our will, we could create a better world. He is our evil precisely because he is also everything that makes us good. He is the hero inverted, the person who sees evil in the world and demands an answer to it. The fact of the matter is that every single one of us can see evil in the world. We see tens of thousands of children die every year. We see warlords conquer nations, imprison its people, and kill and torture them. This problem of evil and the reality of it was what made me become an atheist when I was 9 years old. Over 20 years later, I may have returned to my faith, but I had to come to many realizations through my life. One of them being that I was not unique in noticing this problem of evil, even if I noticed it when I was very young. I'm not going to claim that I have as much reason to be resentful as Nicholas, or as many people in this world have claimed too. Nicholas is the personification of my confrontation with evil, and is the personification of the spirit of our times. We believe, or believed, that merit and hard work would inevitably make a more perfected world, that we would overcome the base evils of reality through logic, innovation, and a mission to do good. We are far more capable today than we have ever been in history to answer some of the world's most difficult problems, but it is our resentment that poisons us, and it is our pride that blinds us into believing we can demand that the world change to fix the wrongs it has heaped into our laps. I do not want it to be believed, however, that I am claiming there is nothing we can do, or that we must simply stand still and accept all the terrible events that swirl around us if we are to stop ourselves from becoming monsters. This is the question I want to answer in my next video through our next character. The question being, how do we face a world filled with evil and not become monsters ourselves? If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. Thank you.